This episode is brought to you by Endless Comics, Games, and Cards. Whether you are a dedicated Wednesday warrior or looking for the latest drop of TCG and sports cards, Endless Comics, Games, and Cards has you covered.
While Endless is known for their large collection of both single-issue comics and library of graphic novels, not to mention their monthly comic book club, they also stay fully stocked with singles and sealed product for Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and many others.
What's the best part? You can set up your pull list online at endlesscgc.com and they will send your new books to you.
So head on over to endlesscgc.com or check them out on social media at endlesscgc.
Hello! This is Ben Berkowitz, the better-looking, taller brother.
That is not true, Ben. This is Max Berkowitz.
And we are the co-writers of the Jewish fantasy folklore comic series, The Writer, with Josh Gad and Ariel Olivetti over at Dark Horse Comics.
And you are listening to the Oblivion Bar podcast.
Welcome to the Oblivion Bar podcast with your host, Chris Hacker and Aaron Knowles.
Joining us today are the co-founders of the communications and marketing firm Not a Billionaire and the co-writers of the Jewish fantasy folklore comic series The Writer with actor co-writer Josh Gad and artist Ariel Olivetti. In their series, The Writer, amidst a dark and mysterious turn, comic book writer Stan Siegel's life dives into a neo-Nazi occult nightmare. As demonic chaos and high-speed chases reign, Stan's hunger for answers unveils hidden identities, setting off a desperate race against time in this thrilling saga. To combat the rising tide of terror, Stan must become the hero from his pages. It is our pleasure to welcome Ben and Max Berkowitz, the Berkowitz Bros, onto the Oblivion Bar podcast.
Woo! Yeah, welcome.
Gosh, that was amazing. It was so
professional.
I know. I'm excited to read it.
That's what we do. Hype man.
That's what we do. Yeah,
Ready for the game. Let's go.
We know that you guys, the creators of the world, are often sitting in their room by themselves, just either typing away on their old school typewriter with their ink pen and the whole thing, or just painting away. So when you guys come on the Oblivion Bar, we want to just hype you up as much as possible. So welcome both Ben and Max for being here. We appreciate you guys coming on the Oblivion Bar.
No,
Thank you.
Excited. We literally have nothing else to do. So this is
Lack of options, and we appreciate
I just had
you guys.
6 drinks before this. No,
Love that, actually. Only 6? Well, I think it's important that we just go ahead and set a base here. Again, Aaron had a great intro there, but to sort of set a base for the Berkowitz Bros, it's important that we discuss the origin story, which I'm sure you both are so incredibly sick of telling at this point from all the media tour. They shake their head there. You guys can't see that because this is an audio medium. But I know I would be annoyed by telling this story. But, Ben, I'm going to start with you here. From what I could tell, this was sort of, am I correct in saying this is your guys' first comic work ever? And the build off of that is, why did The Writer have to be a comic book when you guys wanted to tell the story?
And just to clarify, I am the older but taller, better looking brother. Just
so
for
not
everyone
true.
listening.
This is the most attractive 2 people we've had on the show, and they're both brothers. So everyone listening at home, just so you're aware.
Amazing. Thank you. The origin of this. So, we've talked about this, how you work on a project or several projects for years, and they take forever. Just they're in development hell. And then one day you're watching, I feel bad. I feel like the creator of the showrunner of Moon Knight's going to reach out and be like, well, we were watching.
They know
Moon
what they
Knight.
did.
Yeah.
We were watching Moon Knight, and, in the comic books, Moon Knight's identity is very much tied to his Jewish identity. His father is a rabbi and Holocaust survivor. And then in the show, you get none of that. You get like a scene at a funeral and like the kippah tossed on the ground. And so Max and I were like, man, this is a trend we're seeing with every character. that identifies as Jewish.
And in that show, they were making fun of Jewish mothers, and they always make fun of Jewish mothers in movies and TV shows. So we wanted to
Is that the
stop
trope?
that.
Making fun of the Jewish mother?
trope. Yeah.
You can thank Mike Myers for that and all of his SNL skits.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Coffee talk.
Well, yeah.
Even though it's pretty accurate. But where was I going?
Sorry,
so
Ben.
yeah, no. So Max and I, we talk on the phone like 19 hours a day. My wife literally complains that I talk to him more than her. And we were like, we got to come up with a story where literally you can't remove the Judaism out of any aspect of it, from the characters, the setting, the story. So we came up with this concept. When I was little, I used to have a paper eating problem. We had a mini Torah in our house, and I think I ate almost the whole thing, not in one sitting. So we were like, what if our guy could write down any superpower, eat it, and temporarily gain those powers? So we started to spitball this idea. And this was within the span of 2.5 hours. We built the presentation. We literally shot it off to Josh Gad. And I think within 24 hours, we got a response. And he was like, I love this concept. I'm going to make it better.
Make it better.
Yeah, which he did, because he has an encyclopedic knowledge of everything Jewish mythology, folklore, and he's obsessed with Indiana Jones, the Ark of the Covenant. So it was like a match made in heaven.
You guys do a great job of sort of highlighting. It's actually one of my favorite things in the trade paperback, which again, we haven't said yet, it released on April 22nd. So the week that you guys are all listening to this conversation, the trade paperback is already out. But one of the great functions of that beginning part of the trade is you guys list out all of these incredible, it's like a glossary of different Jewish terms, but also folklore monsters and, different people from the text. And I just found that so
mythology,
right.
Lore,
It's extremely valuable to the story because, and this is something I really love about some storytellers, is that they won't try to hold your hand through a lot of the book. They'll just sort of throw you into it and see how you swim. This is sort of a nice happy medium where you guys give folks the terms that they're going to experience throughout the story without stopping the actual story to tell you what's going on.
No, exactly. My father-in-law, who happens to be as we call a goy, he read, I think, the first issue, and he was like, I don't understand any of these words.
Well, because this is our first comic, we weren't used to getting the reviews for the first issue, second issue, third issue, and it's about a writer. So it's about their struggle, and it's about how it changes the whole process, like the pacing throughout it. So once the first issue come out, some people were like, the pacing's crazy. And we're like, no, just wait.
Everything
just
was
wait.
done on purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just felt it was necessary to open up, and give people this opportunity to look into some Yiddish terms. There were some Yiddish terms I had never even heard, just because it is sort of a dying language right now. Our grandparents, who were the ones who used it more often, aren't around anymore. So it was also to honor that.
Mm-hmm. And people use it. They don't even know it's Yiddish. When you say oy vey or I'm schwitzing,
Yeah. Let's go for a schwitz. A sugar.
Yeah. That's one thing I really loved about it. My wife is actually she's half Jewish. So she's over the last few years since we've been married, we've been doing a lot of kind of experiencing a lot of more of the Jewish culture, going for Passover. We hung out a lot with actually my last unit in the Army. I had my first Jewish chaplain. And we actually became really good friends. He's a great guy. Loved his family. They invited us over all the time. So getting to know that part of my wife's background or heritage was awesome. And that's what when I read this, I was so excited, because the first thing I do is I open up I read it digitally, so I swipe it, and I see the mythology, I see the lore, I see the Yiddish, and I'm like, babe, look. And so she's super excited to read it also now, after I just binged the whole thing in less than a day. But it's accessible for everybody, as a goy, as well. It's absolutely accessible to anybody that has any interest in it. And I love the fact that you can bring somebody so directly into this already like lord up world, and just kind of like dump them in, and they're just, it's like they should be able to pick it up pretty easily.
I think like we're living in like a really cool I mean, it's an awful moment in time, but it's a cool moment in time where people really want to reconnect with their culture.
Yes.
And like their folklore and their mythology. I mean, you see it with Sinners, like with what Ryan Coogler has done with that. I mean, it's incredible. And like, that's kind of what we're doing with this. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of people gravitate towards the writer and to movies like Sinners.
Yeah.
We're keeping the past alive.
Yeah.
And speaking of the past, I think it's pretty well known at this point that the comics medium owes so much to the Jewish people that sort of laid the groundwork. I mean, we're talking Jack Kirby, Joe Simon, Stan Lee, like all these folks, the people who like many of the characters, I would say the majority of the characters that we love today. We wouldn't have comics today without a lot of those folks. But I want to get into the story of the writer. Obviously there's a heavy emphasis in the writer on how stories are passed down. You guys sort of talked about this a moment ago, and how sometimes it's used as weapons and not as a shield. I've heard you say that in another conversation. So Max, I want to ask you, you've mentioned Mike Mignola as a major inspiration for this book. And he even does the cover, and you even got Ben there. Was that a Hellboy that you held up there?
Of
Nice.
course.
Yeah. Mike actually he's done some covers, but he is also the cover artist for the direct market trade, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Were there any specific stories, possibly from yours and Ben's upbringing, or just some modern favorites, that informed how you and the team approached sort of the conception of the writer?
Oh my God. I mean, the whole story is basically based off our family and where we're from. I mean, our own mom is in this comic. It doesn't really look like her. I mean, that's what she says, but we think it looks like her. I mean, and because I used to be a sports reporter, and I wanted to infuse a lot of what I grew up with, which was the Green Monster, Fenway Park, and put that into the comic. And we were able to do that. We were even make a whole folktale on the Green Monster.
That line in the book is so good.
We had so much fun with that. We like Mike. Mike was a huge influence on us.
We've known him for a long time.
I met him
15 years ago, right?
Yeah, when I was at Magnolia Pictures, my colleague was really close with him and his wife, and he was like, "You want to grab fried chicken lunch with him?" And I was like, "Yeah." And just ever since then, we've kind of like we've been close, and but yeah, Mike's ability to like devour, all of these like folk tales from around the world and put his own spin.
Well, not just his own spin. He also works with his brother.
Yeah.
I didn't know that actually.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. His brother helps him find stories.
Yeah.
And they write them together.
Wow.
It's pretty amazing.
And that was like really important for us and like the Green Monster to infuse that, making our own tale. And we took this real life story about Solomon Franco, one of the first Jews to come to Boston in like the mid 1600s. We obviously added a little bit of flair to that story because I think he was sent to Boston to deliver a package, and they ended up not paying him, and they were like, "Okay, we're going to send you back to Holland." But in our story, he never left, and so I won't give too much away, but yeah.
I was going to ask you guys how much you want to sort of talk about. Again, the trade comes out, or it had already come out at the time, but I'm totally fine. Aaron, I'm sure you're totally fine keeping it mostly spoiler free. All of our questions are spoiler free. Totally up to how you guys want to approach that.
And why we're inspired by folktales and journeys too is also our grandfather, he was a vet as well. And there's so many tales that he told us. Have you ever seen what's the movie, Ben? Big Fish?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
His life was like that.
Wow.
He has one of the best stories. I think he was stationed in the South, and I want to do like a whole comic book or just like use this story. But essentially, so he's this like Jewish guy that didn't look Jewish at all, had platinum blonde hair, tan
blue
skin.
eyes.
Met this beautiful girl. She was like, want to come to my family's house for a pasta dinner? And he was like, sure, why not? The dad ended up bringing him into like their living room. And he was like, oh, let me show you something. He opens up this closet, and in there is a KKK.
No.
And he was like the head dragon or whatever.
Oh my God.
My grandfather was like, you know what? I'm going to spend the night. But then afterwards,
you get 3 more days out of me, and that's it. I'm leaving.
I'll screw his daughter. That's what I'll do.
There you go. Yeah.
When I put holes in these sheets, I put holes in the rest of them.
There you go. Exactly.
Stains on the sheets and holes in these.
His favorite thing was like he said, "I was like a butterfly, flew from one woman to the next."
Yeah. He was like an incredible storyteller, and that was a huge influence on us.
Yeah.
No,
And
I love how
too.
you guys have. I love how you guys have taken this passion, of family, of history, of mythology, and just kind of again like made it your own. But it's really interesting your guys' partnership together. It's so organic, even especially for 2 brothers, which you don't ever really see brothers that are so like what's the word, like simpatico.
Yeah.
You guys are very in sync. So you described it as non-hierarchical. I think I'm saying that right. Non-hierarchical. That's a hard word to say. And it's almost like playing jazz together. So were there, like, when you guys were creating the writer, were there any particular scenes or moments where you found yourselves perfectly like in sync together, or maybe even surprised by one another while creating it?
That's a good question. I mean, we were pretty much we are in sync. It's always like a back and forth, like constantly with Max and I, and even Josh. We were all kind of aligned, and even like Ariel, who I mean, he really made this thing. Like, you got to give him credit, because we would envision something one way, like the scene in the Unknown World. Like we were all like, oh, this has got to be like dark purples and blacks, and then he brought in these like beautiful pastel like biblical scenes, and we're like, nope, you did it better, you win.
We actually like your version better, actually.
I think the scene there was, oh my God, there were just
King Solomon naked.
Yeah, King Solomon naked. Yeah, yes, that was the scene. Max suggested he be naked, and I was like, winning, done.
Came into this world naked.
Exactly.
Let me ask you.
I love how he spoke.
Let me ask you guys
a couple
this.
of naked people in that. Yeah, Lilith.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you. There's something that sort of sparked this idea in my brain here. I want to ask you both individually. And Max, I'm going to start with you, and then Ben, we'll go to you. As you guys have partnered together with this story, what have you guys found the other one to do much better than you? Is there something in particular throughout this process, whether it be scripting or idea creation, organization, or collaboration, whatever it might be? Max, what do you think Ben has taught you how to be better at with this particular thing?
I think keeping me grounded and moving forward with the script, because I can go off. Yeah, I think you were. I was
literally going to say the same thing for you.
So you guys police each other.
Yeah.
I think you're always keep on schedule. Ben, you're someone who he pushes me to keep writing.
That's true.
It is true.
I tend to work like around the clock, and I'm it's
crazy.
Yeah, I don't sleep. It's like average 4 hours, but who needs sleep these days?
That's right.
You make me want to be a better person.
I love you, Ben.
I think Max, I tend to have like big ideas, and I'm not really great with I don't like people, so when it comes to like dialogue and human connection, that's not really my thing. So
Max is the glad hand.
Max is the glad hand.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
that's Aaron. Aaron's charisma's turned up to 11, where I'm like, we need to get this done, and this done, and Aaron's like, got it. Who am I talking to? Like that's his deal.
You need someone schmoozed. You need a skid greased. You call me.
I'm your guy.
I didn't get much in looks or look, but I'll tell you what, I can charm the pants off of just about anybody.
Aaron, you and I should have a smooth podcast.
Yeah. Literally, you go through Max's, I mean, nobody's going to get this reference, but Rolodex.
Rolodex,
it's insane.
For the same way, piles of cards just everywhere.
Right.
For all the children at home, a Rolodex was a at-home contact list that you would sift through to find names and or emails.
It was on a roll. Think of a roll of toilet paper, but it would just go like dominoes in toilet paper form. You know, I got to ask one thing. This is kind of a digression into the conversation a little bit, but one thing that I really loved, and you know, you're both talking about how you previously, like you were, Max, you said you were a sports writer. You know, with writing and storytelling in this story, obviously it's the foundation of his powers. It's a foundation of just about anything in human culture. We tell stories. Words are power. Stories are power. Like knowing history and having it like a grasp on it makes you more powerful, because then you can just, you know, obviously use it to your advantage.
Stories are empathy machines, if I can just add.
They're empathy machines. Yeah. But I love the fact that like you almost turn the same idea like on its head, because it's I don't know exactly the term, but he ingests the words, he ingests the history, he ingests the lore to become more powerful. So it's almost it's metaphorical, but it's
like
also
steroids
literal.
with baseball. Okay.
Yeah. And so I loved it because, you know, it's like in his own world, like how did that kind of create it's like, how did you come up with that concept of like, again, was that something that came from your writing in the past and just realizing that words are power, or what was the development of that?
Well, Ben mentioned that he liked to eat paper when he was young.
Well, yeah, I know, but there's more to come. I used to eat a lot of shit when I was a kid. My parents would find stuff eaten, like the speakers. I'd eat the stuff out of. Anyways, the point is, I love how it's, you know, it has that adaptation, but also, you know, from writing as well and the history of it.
If eating wood chips gave you powers, Aaron would be Superman. Lead paint wood chips.
I love that. But like, you know, to be like, you know, serious for a half second. It really, you know, stems from, you know, growing up and, you know, being immersed in Jewish culture and, you know, Jewish texts. There's a lot of emphasis on the power of words and how words have like the power of creation. And, you know, in the Hebrew alphabet, you know, everything is assigned a number as well. So there's just so much power in words. And that's like really what was like embedded in our brains and how we wanted to express that in our story and with Stan. Yeah.
It's interesting. You know, it seems like we're getting away with that, or getting away from that, excuse me, in our culture a little bit, that words do have power. And that, and again, I'm going to say here right now that we're not going to get political, but my next question is very political, is that there seems to be a large demographic of people who don't believe that words have meaning, and that we don't say things on accident. We will often say things, whether it be subconsciously or consciously purposeful. And I totally agree with both of you in this story that like, yeah, like a story can guide you. And I sort of mentioned it when Aaron was talking a moment ago. You know, I think it was Roger Ebert, or I can't remember exactly what it was now, but somebody said that, you know, story is an empathy machine, or stories are empathy machines. And you can totally see that. And if I may, as I take this tangent into a serious question, since we're on Serious Street right now, you know, this story, it very clearly wears its Jewish identity on its chest, powerfully, if I can say that. And also I think that it's important to know that we are currently, again, as I sort of mentioned a moment ago, we're living in this time where othering is getting dangerously close to normal practice for a large portion of this country. And some of our most prestigious universities, and even again, the current administration, are being accused of anti-Semitism on a semi-regular basis. So in a world where storytelling feels, again, more important than ever, especially for marginalized groups, what do you think the message that you hope readers, but specifically Jewish readers, take away from the writer? So
with this story, you know, one, we wanted to highlight how, you know, anti-Semitism is on the rise, but we also wanted to show that through our folklore and mythology, there are a lot of similarities that have carried throughout different cultures, throughout different religions. You know, there are very similar demons in Christianity, Judaism, Islam, and there are even like we introduced the god of death Mot, who was a Canaanite god. And we played with this idea, which isn't that original of an idea. Other authors and writers have played with this idea, like what happens to gods when they're forgotten or when that culture disappears. So really, we wanted people to enter through a more nuanced, less niche way so that they could see themselves, their stories, their past, and connect. And for us, combating anti-Semitism isn't just like calling out hate, calling out anti-Semitism. It's about showing the positivity, the stories that we can all relate to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Max, anything you want to add to that idea?
No, I mean, this is something we both grew up with before October 7th happened. Like there's a lot of anti-Semitism growing up, and I never found a way to combat it. I used to always either yell at the person or get in a fight with the person. And this taught me that we can create something positive that teaches people that we're all the same, and that, let's just enjoy each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just going to add, and like you can integrate, difficult anecdotes, stories. Like we integrated aspects of the Holocaust into the story, and like the goal was so that we can introduce these like tiny tidbits of the story that had actually happened, so that people will want to go out and learn more. That was kind of the goal.
I love that aspect in there. And I'm not going to reveal too much of the panels that you're talking about, but there's this one in particular where, again, Stan uses a power and he's like just kind of supported by these hands. And there's this moment that he and his mother share about that, and it's just like, that's one thing I love about comics coming into this industry. I never knew the emotional, like mental, just like spiritual, philosophical impact that comics could have. And that right there was just like maybe 3 or 4 panels. And it was really, really powerful. Mm-hmm. So like, kudos to the entire team for obviously visually creating that, Ariel, and then, you guys writing it. But that was just such an important thing. And it's like, it's something it's subtle to where you could miss the depth of it, but if you're really reading this from a perspective of somebody who appreciates the context for what you're reading, like it's such a hard-hitting moment, and I just like, that was so great.
Well, these inherited traumas are like carried, not just with Jews, but with everyone, and like we feel it on a daily basis. And we may not be thinking about it all the time, but it's always there. And so that's what we were trying to express with that. And thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And
message received.
Ben, you mentioned this in your response there a moment ago. And Max, you sort of mentioned this as well too. It's sort of a double answer here, is in terms of like, I sort of love the idea of we aren't all the same, right? Like we can accept and celebrate the differences that we have in each other. And again, it allows us to have that perspective and to showcase what makes us individuals, right? Because I guess we all have the same problems. We're all dealing with a lot of the similar things in 2025, but what Aaron goes through on a normal basis is probably much different than what Max goes through on a different basis, which is much different than what I go through and what Ben goes through, and so on. So we can share, we can sort of, they say misery breeds company. We can share in some of those similar problems, but in order to truly understand each other, and I'm going on a weird tangent here, and in order to like truly understand each other, I think it is important to understand those small nuances, whether it be culturally, racially, religiously, sex related, like all of it. It all makes us who we are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like there were so many stories we wanted to go deeper into. I mean, with Stan's wife being an Ethiopian Jew, Beta Israel, like, oh my gosh, just exploring those stories, and like the Operation Solomon.
Showing all the cultures of Judaism, like Mizrahis, Sephardic, Ashkenazis. And we even showed there's like Indian Jews too. Like some people don't even know there's Indian Jews. They're like the most famous Bollywood actress in the 1920s and 30s was a Jewish Indian woman. And it's like, crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah. And again, I don't want to give away too much. And Aaron sort of alluded a little bit to this earlier. The finale, I'll say the last 4 pages of this book are unlike anything. I won't say it's unlike anything because I've seen this sort of meta realization in a book, but you guys do it really, really well. And I think, again, the story is captivating, and I think it's really well told, both, from you two, from Josh, and from Ariel. But those final 4 pages, I think, are worth the price of admission alone. And I'm curious, I want to quickly get into how Josh and Ariel got into this situation, because somehow we've gone 30 minutes in this conversation and not talked about Josh Gad maybe one time. But I want to know, like, Ben, Max, either one of you, how did you guys come to the conclusion that that's how you wanted to end this first arc, if this is the first arc?
I mean, honestly, that was, I'm glad you didn't call us Grant Morrison hacks. Cause I mean,
there's a lot of Animal Man in here.
Yeah. I mean, like, I won't, it's so funny. I had never read that Animal Man. And then I think someone like called us out. And I was like, shit, are we going to be screwed? It's like, did we just just totally rip him off? But no, I mean, like, for us, that was like the big, like, Josh, Max, and I, Ariel, we were like, with being the writer, having the power of the writer, like, there's like so many endless possibilities, so much pressure, anxiety. Like, what does it mean to like control the story? So, we kind of like leaned into, and like with comic books, like, it's the only medium where we could get away with this, I think. Playing with, the medium, the art, the thought bubbles, everything, to really dive in and explore the story and what it means to be a writer.
Yeah, those last 4 pages could, like you said, only happen in comics. You could not do that in a movie, in a television series, in a novel. That is what makes comics so great. And when I asked you the question earlier in our conversation about why you think this book should be told as a comic, I was almost kind of hoping that you would say like the finale, because that is so true, right? Like, that finale could only be done in this medium.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you could only do that. And it's funny because that was the most, we had like a beautiful relationship with Ariel on this comic.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah.
He's a real piece of shit now.
he's mad that we have not gotten our Boston Lager together. We miss that moment. But it was like a beautiful collaboration. But like on these last 4 pages, it was a real like tug and pull. He had to reel me back in. I had to push him a little bit more to like be a little bit more surreal with the space. And then I had this like, we all had this like crazy final page, and Ariel was like, no. Let's do it this way. This is the ending. This is like the iconic moment. And I was like, you win.
We added one extra thing there.
We did. Yeah. We added in a couple
one little tidbit.
Details.
Yeah.
And we could have spoiled anything in this conversation, but I would not want to spoil that, right? Like, if there's one thing that I want to sort of keep under wraps for everyone that's listening right now, if you're listening to this conversation and you have not read The Writer, again, available in trade paperback as of April 22nd. That, again, the finale is worth the price of admission alone. Aaron, one more question before I hand it off to you, okay? Because I have to ask, we haven't talked about Josh and Ariel hardly at all. How do those two fit into this, 4-way for The Writer?
I mean, it doesn't exist without Josh or Ariel. I mean, we came up with like a very loose idea and, pitched Josh, and, he's just on another level. I mean, there's a reason he's Josh Gad. We sat with him on like our initial Zoom, and just the ideas and the structure to the story and the characterization, it just like was flowing out.
He probably gave us like 15 folktales in that meeting, which is insane.
Yeah, he has like an encyclopedic knowledge. And yeah, I remember we would like be writing with Josh, and I forgot we built like a list, a spreadsheet of like all of the folktales, like weapons, everything. And he was like, wait, guys, you're not using the sword of Moses? Like, this is the coolest thing in the world. And like, we're like, yeah, you're absolutely right. How could we forget a sword?
Where are the golems? What are we doing here, guys?
Right, exactly.
The Dibbooks.
So yeah, that like Josh, I mean, and he's been like the most wonderful partner in all of this, you know, with everything he's doing. You know, this was a major passion. Like a lot of people, when you look at a lot of books with celebrities on board, you know, people think, oh, it's just a vanity project. But this was it for him. This was like a huge passion. He's been wanting to do this. He even says like he turned down Frank Miller on a comic book collaboration
For the Berkowitz brothers?
For the Berkowitz brothers. I guess we're good at pitching. I don't know if he's blowing smoke up our ass, but
wonder what your catching game is like.
Yeah. But no, he's been like truly the best partner in the world. And then Ariel, I slid into his DMs.
His wife was jealous.
Yeah,
as
like,
all great relationships start, right?
Yeah, I was like, "Hey, sexy, how you doing?
Hey, you up?
Yeah,
want to draw a comic?
Yeah,
just sending him naked Solomon.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's just Max holding a sword naked on a couch. Want to ride? You want to collab? Collab or nah?
Max sent him like a few pictures for the pose of himself naked, and Ariel's like, "Please." The comic's already out. Stop sending
No,
us.
I did not do that.
Does he have a commission list? Because I'm gonna need that. Now, one thing I just wanted to, like, I'm excited to explore, and going into the future is because, like, again, it's just like you said, it's such an exciting thing to be able to go into your own like personal, like just. And I almost use the word religion, but it's not. It's like your own personal, like your history, your culture. It's not just religion. It is like a lifestyle. It's all of that. And I find it to be. It must be slightly overwhelming, but also completely amazing to have just so many things to draw from, because like, it's like you said, it's endless. Like the possibilities are endless. I love all of these different types of shows that pull from stuff like that, like comics, books, shows. Yeah. The, Grimm series, if you ever watch that pulled from all different types of fantasies. Like, and this has like such a feel of something that could go on to be like just almost endless with the amount of, potential that it has at its pull. So I'm really excited for you guys, and that must be slightly overwhelming.
Did you hear that, Dark Horse?
Yeah. Dark Horse.
Dark Horse, hello. Are you listening? McFly.
It is overwhelming. I mean, like, and it's funny because now that 23andMe is in trouble. But yeah, I did 23andMe, for Max.
Did you delete our information, Ben?
I did. I deleted it all.
Good.
It's gone.
I didn't need to do it. I'm German, clearly. Look at me. I'm pale and
you're a beautiful German man. Even doing that, they gave us, like, this is really going deep and nerding out, but they gave us like our maternal haplogroup, which they were able, because of Ashkenazi Jews came from like 5 women who, came from the Middle East. They were able to trace back our specific maternal haplogroup to a group of people 14,000 years ago that moved like from Africa to the Levant, and like we're there, and like we're living throughout like the most pivotal moments in like human history.
Really?
And then migrated to Ukraine, and
right before the Romans came, right?
Yep. We migrated. Yep. We left before those Romans.
So that's what my wife just found out. She found out she's Ashkenazi. She did the ancestry.
We're 31st cousins.
Oh, nice. I'll let her know.
All right, Shabbat next week.
Yes, we're
coming over. You want to know
We'll bring a nice roast.
This is a little inside information which we shouldn't share, but our parents are cousins.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Through marriage.
Oh, yeah. I mean, got to keep it close.
Weird.
That's some Targaryen type.
TMZ.
Oh, God.
It explains our giant foreheads.
Dear Comics Beat, do I have a story for you?
No, I appreciate that. Like that's a great a great way of looking at it, and I love the fact that you guys are just really like tapping into everything. So, but last thing we wanted to ask, before we go, we like to ask this question to the creative teams that come onto the Oblivion Bar. We like to know what you're into. What we want to give you the opportunity to showcase something, whether it's comics, movies, TVs, prose novels, podcasts, albums, video games, whatever you're into. Please share it with us. What's taking up your time, Max?
Okay, well, I have two things. I got bet into one of them. I think a lot of people are watching right now. It's The Righteous Gemstones.
Nice.
You have to watch that.
Yes,
Very
It's so good. But my other thing, I love Sam Raimi
good.
and Ash versus the Evil Dead. If you have
Yes.
not seen that, you got to go back.
Slashy, slashy. Yes.
Shop smart.
Like,
Shop S
it's
smart.
so funny, but also I was scared while watching it. Freaking love it. And Drag Me to Hell. That's another one you need to watch. But yeah. Those are my go-tos right now. Ben?
Yeah, what are my wow, you took literally everything, Max. I mean, we
God,
basically
do it again.
Well, you were able to answer that question that I had a brain fart with.
Ben's
so that's
gonna
good.
say Beauty and the Beast live action, Pixels, Frozen,
yeah.
Angry Birds movie,
The Page Master.
Page Master,
Page
Dog's
Master.
Purpose.
I would love to. It's funny. Max mentioned Sam Raimi. In the first issue, we wanted that diner scene to be a Sam Raimi moment.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So huge inspiration. We're obsessed with Sam Raimi. What am I watching? I mean, with my kids, I might have introduced
Some
them
of
a
your
little
animated
too-
shows, Ben. Yeah.
Which animated?
You're watching.
shows?
You were telling me there was like 3 of them you told me to watch.
Well, I'm Blue Samurai. Like I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with
So
that.
good.
What else? Ultraman Rising. Everyone
Love it.
should watch that. Our
Love
good
it.
friend Shannon Tyndall directed that. And I'm not really. I'm reading Shaolin Cowboy. I'm like catching up on so many things.
You're also, we're putting together a couple other things. That's what you're doing.
We have some
Oh,
very exciting projects. One is a comic book that we can't talk about yet, but I will say it's a combination of horror and 90s nostalgia.
Okay, Aaron,
Yeah.
let's list off all the
You
90s.
both grew up with these people.
Yes.
Adam's Family.
Buffy.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
No. It's good. You're never gonna.
You're never
guess.
gonna get it.
You're never gonna get it. But when you see it, you're gonna be like, "Oh, whoa!"
Ghostbusters.
Well, I think that
SWAT
just
cats.
that just means that we have to get you guys
SWAT
on
cats, you
again.
just said. Did you just say SWAT cats?
That's funny.
They've got a comic for every 90s nostalgic cartoon or TV show nowadays. Like Buy Your Mice from Mars have a comic right now. What are we doing? So
I mean,
Pirates
Captain-
of Dark Water.
yeah.
Captain
my-
Planet is actually like phenomenal.
Silver
Oh, yeah,
Hawk.
David Papose is he
Yeah.
kills it. That guy kills it. I was gonna ask you, like, I don't know if you have you guys read The Holy Roller?
You know what's funny? I hadn't heard about that until I saw Andy Samberg's like promotion. It was like a couple weeks ago, and so I ordered a copy. It looks hilarious.
It is amazing, completely different like vibe than yours.
Right.
So very much I can't be like, oh, yours, this is no. It's very much his humor. It's very much his storytelling type, and it's really good. I really enjoyed it. Again, it does, but I'm torn. Like I like your guys because obviously I'm a huge fan of like I love studying like Eastern philosophy, like religions, things like that. And so the fact again that this has like a personal grasp on me with everything that I've experienced with my wife in the last few years, as far as the culture and just the traditions, it's a beautiful, everything's beautiful about it. And I love the fact that it's becoming like I feel like there's been a lot of content recently that's like highlighted the Jewish culture. No one asked for this over on Netflix.
Right.
is amazing. Again, and this I would just say as somebody who has like read and consumed a lot of the content that has a lot to do with Judaism. The writer is one that you guys do not want to miss. You guys want to go check this book out. Go get the trade paperback again, April 22nd. But I think Chris, go ahead and take it from there because I'm just gushing now.
Cry.
I will say really quickly, Speaking of, Jewish folks doing incredible things, did you guys see the trailer for The Smashing Machine that came out today from Benny Safdie?
Yes.
Looks good.
I did.
Aaron, did you see that one with The Rock?
It looks really good.
I have not watched it yet.
It's a new A24 movie.
I love him with
given-
hair.
Yeah.
It's The Rock with hair. I've never
Did they
thought
also do something to his face?
He
Yeah.
looks like
Definitely.
it. I saw a couple of screenshots, and it definitely looks like he's he's whited up a little bit.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
But
done
guys, I'm a
something.
little sad because it's just one brother alone.
Right.
I know.
It's
know.
Benny and who's it? The other one's the actor, right?
Yeah, they were both directing and writing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they broke up.
then
It was Benny and Josh. Josh is
Benny and Josh. Yeah.
I think
Don't let it happen to you guys.
No.
Josh is the
Well-
director generally, but yeah.
What was the show with Nathan Fielder with Josh Safdie?
Oh right.
Oh, that was so good.
So good.
Shoot, Aaron, do you know?
I don't even know who the hell you're talking about.
He just had a new show come out.
Nathan Fielder.
I thought he was going to say Nathan
HBO.
Fillion. I'm like, I love that guy.
Yeah,
but then he
yeah,
said
yeah.
Fielder, and I'm like, I don't know who the hell that guy is.
Oh my god, you have to watch the show. We'll send it to you after. It's
I was
like
say we'll have to find it.
it's like the craziest. Anyways, we're promoting other things other than
Yeah,
The
no free
curse,
ads.
Stan. It's
Yeah.
the curse.
The
Yeah.
curse. Oh, with
Yeah,
the
with
curse.
Emily Stone. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Oh,
our curse.
Yeah, no, I did want to watch that. Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Where they're
I-
like
So
they're HGTV like host of like
Oh,
build a house for $10 or whatever their shows are.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever. All right. Well, my gosh, Ben, Max, so great to have you guys both on. What a great conversation to have both about, the writer and just about you guys as creatives. Again, we've said it a bunch here, but we'll say it one last time. The writer comes out on April 22nd, or it had already come out on April 22nd because we are currently in the present and in the past, depending on when you're listening to this. So before we get out of here, and Ben, I'm going to start with you. How can folks follow you? You've already sort of teased some things, but if there's anything else you want to tease in terms of what you're working on, you're more than welcome to. No pressure, but I'm going to kick it over to you.
no. Get the writer in comic shops, bookstores, Amazon, wherever you can find books. Order the writer, the trade paperback. There's a golden ticket giveaway going on
Ooh,
right now.
We can talk about the golden ticket.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about the golden ticket.
Yeah, so the golden ticket. So there are currently 15 golden tickets sprinkled throughout North America. And you can hopefully find one. If you find one in one of the trade paperbacks, you'll win this gorgeous
Oh wow.
design t-shirt.
Aaron, do you know who that is, by the way? Oh, real quick, I'm going to interject here. Do you know who that is? The person who made that shirt?
Oh, that's the guy that we had on the show.
Yeah, Zach Merrill.
Zach, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zach, we've had him on the show.
Genius.
Good friend of the show. Love what he's doing with, the 3-color process and t-shirts and all that.
I was going to say, that's Josh Gad on the shirt. duh.
Yeah, I thought you were saying that.
Do you know who that is? That's Josh Gad. I know. I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, cult artist Zach Merrill.
Yeah.
He made it. He killed it with this shirt.
Yep.
So yeah, if you find a golden ticket, you'll win one of these gorgeous shirts, which we're very excited about. And yeah, it's to celebrate, the stores and get people to go to the stores. You can find us on Instagram at The Writer Comic, Burke Sketches, Maximus Berkowitz, Josh Gad, and then Ariel Olivetti, and Go Frank Go. We never mentioned Frank. He brought this book to life, his letters, Frank Svetkovich.
Max, anything you want to add there?
I just want to say thank you both for having us on. And this has been freaking amazing.
I
told him.
We appreciate you both being here. And again, we would love to have you back on for whatever reason, whether it be another project you guys have on, or have going on, or if you want to just come on and chat with us, we'll talk more about Yiddish and the Celtics. We didn't talk about the Celtics once today, and I feel sort of bummed about it. But the NBA playoffs are going on right now.
You're gonna have me talk for like 5 hours.
We got to get out of here. We got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for showing up, Max.
Yeah.
All right, gotta go.
Gotta go.
Well, thank you both for coming on, and we'll talk to you next time. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.